Hey guys, I'm Matthew Costello. Today we're going to be doing NFL Week 11 Power Rankings Part 2. This will be the 16th best team to the first best team. This will be my, top 16 teams. If you're looking for the bottom 16, that will be in Part 1. The link to that should be popping up at the top of your screen sometime during this intro. And you can go watch that one first. You can watch this one first. You can just watch that one. You can just watch this one. Just know that it is there for you to watch as you please. Just please watch them. At this point. Let's go ahead and get into things. So we're going to be starting with team 16, and we're going to go all the way down to team number 1. So starting with, in my opinion, the 16th best team in the league, we have the Carolina Panthers. They went out there, and the score was bad against the Buccaneers, but in the first half, definitely, I think it was tied at the end of the first half. They played pretty well earlier in the game. They just kind of fell apart later part of the game. And yes, Teddy Bridgewater is technically questionable for this game, but I think he is practicing today. I saw something that said that I think that he is expected to be in next week against the Lions. Also, I'm pretty sure Christian McCaffrey is expected to be in, but just know both of them are still questionable, so we don't know. We could see a P.J. Walker-led team or potentially a Will Grier-led team, which we saw how he played last year is not very good. But I'm just going to assume that Teddy Bridgewater is still in there. They had a pretty bad game, but I kind of expected the Bucs to bounce back. You're going up against Tom Brady, and yeah, I know he's not as good as he was, but whenever he gets beaten by a lot, he is going to go out there and he's going to play well. So they don't really move at all, and they stay at 16th. And 15th, we have the Dolphins, who bump up 4. They really just play. They go up against the Chargers, and they just play better than them. We've seen a lot of teams beat the Chargers, and the Chargers have, had other teams come from behind and beat them. They have, had all these unfair losses. The Dolphins, they just beat them fair and square. It wasn't a comeback. It wasn't anything crazy. The Dolphins just played better, and that is pretty good. The Dolphins, they bump up 4. Their offense has been looking great with Tua Tagovailoa in there. He's gone out there. He's 3-0. And the Dolphins are ready to make some moves. They are in the AFC playoff picture. I think they're 6th seed right now, so they are above the Ravens. And they're one game out of the AFC East dominance. AFC East first. They're one game out of first place in AFC. I was trying to AFC East. Pretend I don't speak. I don't know what to tell you. In 14th, we've got the Browns, who move up 1. Their defense outperformed what I thought it would, but their offense for the second week in a row has not looked very good. They did manage to go out there and get the win, and it really should have been 17-7, but Nick Chubb ran out of bounds to the 1. For all we know, he would have fumbled going into the end zone. I don't know. Really, it was 17-7. But the Browns move up 1 mainly because their defense just played really, really well. It didn't completely blow my mind, and their offense definitely isn't doing as well. But they managed to get the win. They move up 1. They're 14th. They're 6-3. They're looking pretty good. Let's move on to 13th. They got the Raiders, who went out there and completely demolished the Broncos. May I mention that 6 teams in the AFC are 6-3? I am looking forward to these AFC playoff races these next couple of weeks. This is going to be insanely entertaining. I always feel like the AFC always has really good playoff races, and then the NFC it's like 4 teams battling for 3 spots, which is not as entertaining. But the Raiders, they looked pretty well. Their defense, definitely. They held the Broncos to 12 points. I think it was 2 field goals, a touchdown, and a missed extra point. But the Raiders, they played pretty well. The only reason they don't move up a lot is because there are a lot of really good teams in the top 12, top 10 area, so it would be hard to move up through there. And also the fact that, I kind of expected them to beat the Broncos by a lot. The Broncos have had a couple of good weeks, but still they aren't very good at all. In 12th, we have the Saints, who dropped down 5, and a lot has had to do with teams moving around. I don't know how they ended up dropping down 5. They played pretty well against the 49ers. I forgot. Drew Brees is injured. Jameis Winston will be their quarterback. I completely forgot. I was sitting there thinking, hey, why are the Saints at 12th? And then I look over and I see, Drew Brees has been ruled out. Also, last week their offense did underperform. I know they beat the 49ers pretty badly. I think it was 27-13, but still, I really expected them to beat them by more. And then just 14. The Saints, though, they're still 7-2. Jameis Winston has looked good in the past, so I'm not going to jump them down too far, but still, if Jameis Winston goes out there and throws 17 picks in a game, they could end up falling pretty far. But right now, they got Michael Thomas. They're still a really talented team. But Jameis Winston. Let's see what you can do. Just outside of the top 10, we have the Colts, who don't really move at all. They went out there, and who do they play? Sometimes I completely forget what teams play. Let's go to the schedule now, shall we? I think they had a bye week. I think they do. Yeah, I think this was their bye week, was it not? Oh, I forgot it was Thursday Night Football. I always forget about Thursday Night Football. Yeah, they got a pretty good win against the Tennessee. Yes, I watched the game. They got a pretty good win against the Tennessee Titans. They went out there, especially later in the game. I think it was pretty close until about like halfway through the third quarter, and they started to take off. They played really well. They don't really move at all because a lot of it had to do with the fact that Tennessee was highly underperforming. I think they've moved down a lot in my power rankings. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, the Tennessee Titans didn't play too well, but we'll get to that. The Colts, on the other hand, played pretty well. They don't move, but really, I think that had a lot to do with teams moving around them, and we'll see. Next up, Ravens, almost outside the top 10. I think they've gone from 2nd to 10th in these past 5 weeks. The Ravens on a decline. Their offense has looked terrible. Their defense went out there and played pretty well. But again, their defense is underperforming and their offense is heavily playing terribly. And again, this is not terribly in the league, but terribly compared to last year, terribly compared to earlier this season, terribly compared to what we thought the Ravens would be doing. Now, in the league, their offense is playing pretty well against some pretty tough defenses, and their defense is, one of the best. But looking at what we expected from them, it's not doing too well, especially against a team like the Patriots that these past couple of weeks has not looked very good offensively. So the Ravens, they dropped down 2. They're still in the top 10. They still are probably going to make the playoffs, but they're 6-3 on the edge. At 9th, we have the Cardinals, who bump up 1, a last-second Hail Mary touchdown to ice the game against the Buffalo Bills. Just a perfect end to a really good game. The Cardinals, they looked pretty good in that game, but again, they were going up against a really tough. They didn't look amazing defensively, but again, they were going up against a really, really tough offense to play against. Their offense, the Cardinals' offense, in my opinion, really outperformed what I thought they would, and they move up 1. And yeah, again, it has a lot to do with the fact that the top 8 that you're going to see up here are really, really good teams, and it'd be hard to move up against them. Don't hate me, Cardinals fans. I have you moving up 1. I don't think y'all have broken the top 8 yet. I'm not sure. I'm dying. Speaking of the Titans, they dropped down 4. I had a rough second half against the Colts. Defensively, pretty bad. Offensively, also pretty bad. They just had a pretty rough. I'm not going to overreact too much. They do drop down 4, but if they play this badly again next week, I'm going to have to take some more precautions. They are one of the 6-3 teams. They are no longer the top of the AFC South. The Colts now have that title, and the Titans drop down 4. Really all I can say. In 7th, we have the Rams, who jump up 5. I expected them to lose this game. I expected it to be no question. They go out there, and their defense smothers Russell Wilson and that Seahawks offense. The Rams played amazing, and all I can say, they kind of had a bounce-back game. The Rams' defense looked like, the best it's really been in a while. Their offense, I think Jared Goff had like 300 yards. The Rams looked absolutely spectacular. They're 6-3, and they are looking to go. I think they're either winning the NFC West or they are second in the NFC West. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked at the standings in a bit. But yeah. Just outside of the top 5, we have the Packers, who dropped down 1. They managed to get the win against the Jaguars, but it was ugly, and the Jaguars aren't very good. They're 7-2. They're still doing really good. I'm not going to overreact from 1 week, and they did get a win. But their offense, definitely their defense. Their defense has definitely been their weak spot all year. A lot of people say, a lot of people get mad at me when I say that the Packers' defense isn't very good. And then they go out there and they allow, a team like the Jaguars to almost beat them. Their offense underperformed in this game. Again, I'm not gonna hate on them too much for that. They only dropped down 1. They did score 24, 27 points. Had a tiny bit of an off game, but still, they moved down 1. Doesn't really mean anything. In our top 5, we have the Seattle Seahawks. I think they've lost 3 out of their last 4, and they've looked good doing it. They have looked pretty talented, but this game, it's just too much at this point. I've gone from 5-0 to 6-3, and that is not a good look. So the Seahawks, they are dropping down 2. They're still in the top 5, but if they keep on this losing streak, if they're 6-4, 6-5, you're going to see them start plummeting. You almost got a bronze medal, kid, but nope, the Buccaneers did not. They jump up 5 because they managed to beat the Panthers by 23. And yes, they didn't have a best they didn't have the best first half that we've seen, but their second half they definitely came out and they bounced back and they played really well. After that first half, like during halftime, I was actually kind of thinking like, hey, are we gonna see the Buccaneers kind of repeat what they did last week? Yeah, they're going up against a much a much easier team to play. But are we gonna see them underperform heavily? Nope. They went out there, they scored 31 points and no. 29 points in that second half, like 29-3, I'm pretty sure, 29-9, I don't know. They really played really well in that second half against a Panthers team that we have seen really outperform itself in recent games. Teddy Bridgewater's gone out there. He actually had a pretty good game, especially in the first half. But the Buccaneers, they managed to bump up 5. Huge bounce back game. In third, we have the Bills, who jump up 3. They played pretty well against the Cardinals. The reason that they bump up 3 is because they were having such a rough couple of weeks before. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, they were having like a rough stretch. They were playing badly. They've definitely bounced back. Yeah, they lost, but they looked really good doing it. They played some of the best football we've seen them play in a while. They're still 7-3. They're still probably gonna make the playoffs. Yeah, the Dolphins are coming for them, but let's just be honest. The Bills are probably gonna take the AFC East. Entering the top 2, it's been the same. We had the Chiefs, who they've just been dominant all year. I think they had a bye week this week, got some rest, and we have the Steelers, who went out there. They got a pretty dominant win against the Bengals. They're 9-0. I mean, you can't get much better than that. I would not be surprised to see them go 16-0. Kind of would be surprised, but still, we've seen a lot of teams go 9-0. I just now realized, do y'all remember that Panthers team that went 15-1? They were 14-0 at one point. Just thought I should point that out. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for watching me stumble through this. Please subscribe. Please go watch part 1 if you haven't yet. If you're coming from part 1, howdy, welcome to the party, and I hope that you subscribe so you can come back next week. We post NFL videos every single day, so if you like football or you just like to hear me talk, this would be a pretty good channel for you to subscribe to, don't you think? But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. In fact, I know I'll see you in the next one.